Alright guys, so I came back home. I'm in this jersey of this event, basically. Very nice material, I really like it, and I think it's one of the best materials I was riding in the jersey. So it's awesome, it was the present for us. But I made a few major mistakes. So the first mistake, let's get straight into it. The first mistake would be not bringing enough food with me. I thought, if the organizers pay for the ticket and food and accommodation, I can, just chill, relax, because we're going to be staying in hotels and just have food there, and just, buy food right at the spot. But the thing with this event, that it was held in the Inner Mongolia, which is very remote place. Yinchuan city is literally, we were not far from the airport, which is actually, there are no shops, literally no shops at all. So once I woke up at the hotel, I noticed there is no place to buy water even. I could only rely on the food and water that organizers brought for us, even though there was plenty of it. But I couldn't buy my favorite foods for ride, like for instance dried fruits. I really adore dried mangoes and maybe dried sweet potatoes. Also, another thing, it's also related to food. One guy that was actually the best and very strong, he brought his own breakfast even. He brought his own oatmeal and bananas with him. It was a very smart move actually to do, because there were no fruits, nothing. So he actually gave us an advice: next time if you go for a race, you should bring your own breakfast, because it's very important, specifically before these long races. 330 k's is no joke, and you want to have your own specific food. So definitely a huge mistake. You should bring your own stuff. I was only relying on the food that I got at the starting point, which were like 5 bananas, sweet cookies or something I brought with me. And I stuffed my pockets as much as possible, because I didn't know where is the next checkpoint. And if we didn't have any checkpoints for the whole duration of the race, I would bonk. Basically would bonk in about, maximum 150 to 100k, because literally on the whole distance we didn't have any shops. It's just a desert, which actually leads me to the point that, as Alex, once again the guy that was leading from our team, he said you should be self-sufficient during the whole period of race if you want to race, because otherwise you would have to stop, and if they don't have any food, you're just done. Usually stands, I was really grateful that they at this place they had lots of stops, like about 8 to 10 places where you could get water and food. So basically it was cool. But next time I would definitely pack the stuff that I would be self-sufficient. And this way you don't worry about stops. You don't worry about relying on the next checkpoint. You're not stressing too much about, damn, where is the checkpoint? I need some food. You have to be self-sufficient. This is the main first tip. The second tip would be going at your own pace. The thing is that these guys started, as I said, at about 40-45k an hour. And to me, it's definitely not even a threshold. It's anaerobic, capacity. Definitely like 180, 190 beats per minute, which is unsustainable. And I believe this effort for about 15 to 20 Ks of hammering like that, while other guys that were at the front were actually going with the normal 150 beats per minute, which they eventually could sustain for the whole duration of a race, is a huge difference. I was just wondering why those guys are hammering that much. But the thing is that I was too weak, and for me it was hammering, but for them it was just tempo, tempo work. And so you have two ways of doing that right now. I believe you can either try to smash and train to the level where you feel that kind of effort is tempo, but it won't take you a few months. I believe at least a year or a few years, I reckon. And the second way is just, if you want to join these races right now and be strong, start at your own pace. Start at 100. Well, you can try to hold to the group, but if you see that you are not, you're going over 160, 170, slow down. Really, don't even try to keep up. Like it's just burning matches, you know. And you don't want this in 330k ride. Not only because it will be burning a lot of you know your muscles, and you will have lots of lactic acid, but also because you won't be able to lower your heart rate as much as you would like, you know. So for instance, if I hammered for 20Ks, or like maybe a half an hour at that speed, or maybe even less, with a heart rate of 190, then it would be eventually impossible for my body to slow down, to lower my heart rate as efficient as if I would start it at 130, you know, 140 maybe, and go just gradually, you know, with the same heart rate and the same pace. It's just a big difference. When you hammer for 180 beats per minute for half an hour, it's literally impossible to go at the same speed and have lower heart rate, you know. So for instance, if I would start it gradually, I could probably go with 32k an hour with a heart rate of 140. But after that effort, I had to go with a speed of 25, 26k an hour just to lower my heart rate, you know, for a while. And then I could only probably pick up to 29k an hour and go with the same heart rate of 140. I don't really know if you have any tips, guys, for that, and probably different bodies work differently. Different people respond differently to these efforts, and probably if you train lots of intervals and lots of sprints, your body would be more efficient in lowering your heart rate faster, you know. But for me, I noticed the thing, if I go with the same pace, slowly, you know, with a nice warm up, even like starting 100, like zone 2, you know, and then picking up, I can go faster. I can go faster, easier. That's actually my tip. So next time, if I join this race, I don't try to hammer with the front runners. I just start gradually and I just pick up the pace. Because lots of the guys that went with the front runners, that they actually bonked in about 25Ks, literally bonked, because well, they literally were like me, you know, they had to slow down. And then for the whole duration of 300Ks that left, they had to actually deal with this elevated heart rate for a little bit, you know, and it affects your performance over a course of 300Ks, you know, because you cannot really pick up the pace that strong, you know. And even if you try to go, you know, faster, your heart rate would be slightly higher than you would like, you know, which will affect your body, which will affect your burning more salt and your calories, you know, and sweating more probably. And so I would say gradual pace. If you are strong enough that you can ride with the front runners 40k an hour with a heart rate of 140, 150, off you go, you know, no problem. But for me, for this long endurance events, I noticed it would be high-end zone 2, maybe mid zone 3. This is the heart rate from 135 to 155 probably, maybe even less for me, with the maximum heart rate of 200 beats per minute. This is the heart rate I would aim for these long courses, you know. Tip number 3 would be, it's a bit more different because it was a team race and actually I had my phone with me, but I was so excited that I didn't even check my WeChat, and the guys at the front were actually sending me messages, you know, Andrew, we are at the front, you know, we are at a specific point, you know, we will be going with the group, you know, we hope you can catch up. I didn't see those messages, you know, because I didn't even think about it. It was just so exciting for me, you know. I was enjoying the views and trying to pick up the pace a little bit at the same time, but I completely forgot about my phone, you know, which is a huge mistake because the guys were probably devastated, you know. They were sending me messages and then I was like, you know, not responding to them. I mean, specifically, it's for team races. You know, you want to be have some sort of connection with the guys. You know, if you are racing as a team, you know, eventually as the maximum and the best kind of option, you don't want to be dropped. You know, but if you did get dropped, you know, just check your WeChat or your kind of social media if you can communicate, or your phone, you know, just in general. Maybe they can call you and you can just discuss where they are, you know. If they would probably call me and say we are just 10Ks at the front, we just stopped, you know, and the group is just refueling, I could probably pick up the pace. But as I didn't really pay attention to that, I didn't have any idea where they are. Probably they're an hour like in the front from me, maybe, or 2 hours, you know. So it's just stupid, you know. If you're racing with a team, be a team player. It's just very important. Tip number 4 would be don't stop too much. Don't stop if you want to race, because like it leads me to the first point of having enough being self-sufficient and having enough food, you know, so then you don't have to stop that much. And I was actually peeing so much, you know, so I had to stop as well for that. I don't really know how to make sure you don't pee that much, and you don't have, probably you can pee on a bike, you know, but I believe it's the option for descents, probably not for, you know, when you're on a flat and you have to pedal constantly. I don't even know how to pee. I mean, the idea came up to me just to do it on a bike itself, you know, like I'm not ashamed of that. If you want to race, you have to be ready for all the options, but I just don't know. Just let me know, guys, in the comments, how do you deal with all the peeing? You know, I stopped maybe 6 times, you know, in 240 k's to pee, you know. Maybe it's because the weather was just 18 degrees Celsius in the morning, so I didn't sweat as much as normally, because when I'm here with all the humid and 332 degrees Celsius, I actually sweat a lot and I don't stop to pee that much, so probably this was the case. Yeah, so don't stop too much, don't wait for others, just go. The stops really sum up, you know, and can add up to an hour of all the stops. You know, you stopped for food, you stopped for peeing, you stopped for screwing your Garmin mount, you know, and it's all the valuable time you could spend on a bike, even going 20k an hour instead of 30, you know. It would still be far more away than if you just stop and stay and stand on the side of the road, you know. And just general facts, I didn't make this mistake, is just charge your devices, definitely charge them. And then I believe that's it. And maybe the next tip would be just enjoy the race, enjoy the ride. Well, enjoy the ride if you're riding, and probably if you're racing, you wouldn't be enjoying. Well, you can enjoy, but it's a little bit different enjoyment. Probably it's like enjoyment in suffering, you know. So those are the tips I gave you. Actually, they messed up in my head already. I was just no script, you know. I was just telling you from the top of my head what I remember. And the next race is in about 10 days. It's a 190 k's, 1800 meters of climbing race. It's gonna be actually shorter and much harder, probably in pace. I could probably go high-end zone 3 for this ride, I believe. Yeah, I think so. Maybe just zone 3 pacing myself. And I believe in this ride I would be able to actually fuel myself better, because it's on my home turf and I can prepare all the food. So I will definitely pay attention to those mistakes. And in 1 week I am doing 400 ODAX race, which is going to be awesome. It's the pace, it's not a race, you know, but it's a huge experience in terms of long riding, in terms of meeting those people, man. It's just completely different topic and different video, so I don't want to waste your time, guys. I will record another video. If you're interested, click here to watch the video about what I learned after riding in long distances in a group in my first race. That turned out to be just a very, very big lesson for me. Thank you.